Circle, welcome back. So I'm going to be focusing on multifamily for this video. I'm going to be focusing on multifamily property financing and kind of tips and tricks. There are three things I want to share with you. So the first one is and a couple of these are a little more obvious, and one of them might be helpful, something that maybe you've never thought of before. So the first one is if you're having challenges getting financing, perhaps it's because of credit score, or maybe it's your DTI or debt to income ratio. Perhaps it's maybe it's something else. Maybe it's an issue of equity and cash or something like that, and we'll get there. But assuming it's either your credit score or your debt to income, I would suggest you work on that. You're going to need decent credit score and income to help you get financing more easily, whether it's with your multifamily or whether it's with single family purchases or something else. It's going to keep coming back. So while you can purchase and while you can finance without a very robust DTI and credit score, if you have those things, it's going to make life a lot easier for you. It's going to make it a lot more efficient. You're going to be able to come in more aggressively. So the first thing is the obvious one. So forgive me for that because it's so obvious, but work on your DTI, work on your credit score. For the credit specifically, possibly either hire a company to help you with that, talk with a lender that you trust and get some advice. And sometimes they have programs as well to kind of help you develop that. And they might have specific suggestions based on running your credit about what they can do to help out with that. And then as far as your CPA, your accountant, your bookkeeper, something like that, you could also talk with them about your DTI a bit and see if there's a way to structure things so that it's going to help you out a little bit more. Now, the second one is obviously and again, this is another obvious one. So this is working with mortgage brokers that specifically work with multifamily properties. Now, that may sound silly. You might be like, come on, Chad, this is Bush League here. But the bottom line is that I've talked with countless clients over the years that they love their lenders, so they keep working with their lender, and their lender may not specialize in what they need to do, but they can get it done. So just beware of that. I recommend that you work with the lenders that specialize in the products that you need rather than they can handle it. Because everyone wants the business, right? But working with specialists, there is real power there. They're going to get it done with a higher percentage of success. It's oftentimes going to be a lot more competitive, and they're going to know the pitfalls before they come because that's all they do. So that's my second tip. We're getting a little bit warmer here. Now, the third one and final one is if you're having problems with the cash part of things, there are a couple of options. One is working with private lenders. There are some surprising programs out there, just as an example, and this can satisfy possibly all the issues you're having, or at least most of them. I've run across hard money providers that will do 90% LTV and they'll wrap in a bunch of remodel. So that exists. You can do that. And sure, it's short-term financing. It's basically a bridge to get it done, get your remodel done, and then refi out of it because it does have higher interest and things like that. There is another option as well that possibly you haven't considered, and you need to talk with an attorney if you're going to go this route. So you need to make sure it's structured correctly. But something along the lines of crowdfunding, which kind of merges into the idea of syndication. So syndication, it's a fancy word that just basically means you're buying it through an entity rather than buying it personally. And a syndication could be you are the only owner. It could be you and a spouse. It could be you and a friend. It could be you and a million, investors. So syndication is just kind of this entity where there's stuff going on in here and you're buying within the entity. So you could crowdfund into an entity or something along those lines and generate your cash that way. You could either go all cash or crowdfunding can just be the cash component. And then you can do, hard money, debt service coverage ratio, DSCR financing, some other kind of financing, and potentially even seller carry, which is kind of that's my honorable mention, is don't forget about seller carry. Sometimes you can even assume financing, although it's not very common for multifamily. But seller carry happens. And so if you do that, plus a little crowdfunding, possibly plus a little hard money to kind of make that all come together. If the deal is there and the numbers are really strong, a lot of times you can get a little more movement, get a little more help from those other sources. OPM, other people's money, I'm a big fan of it. So I hope this has been helpful to everyone. Reach out if there's anything else we can do for you. And as you think of other topics you'd like us to create these videos on, just let me know. Thanks a lot and good luck.